Okay, guys. I know I've been coming on kind of strong lately. I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings, except for people like Joe Biden. No, I want him exposed. I'm very upset. Okay. So I had been commenting with Tomis23 about, I said, well, I took my video and I put it on unlisted where I said I found my candidate just because nothing personal or nothing is because I don't want to announce too early because I could change because I'm very up in the air right now. I started to listen to this and I wanted to share it with you. I'm just going to do a few minutes of this because for the last hour and 10 minutes, I've been wanting to do something else. And, I need to try to go out walking in the snow. So anyway, I heard this and I thought that there was hopefully some like-minded people out there that would be interested in hearing this. Let me go all the way back. Okay, here we go.
It has been the ambition of every totalitarian regime in the history of mankind to exert total control over every aspect of human behavior, over not only our movements, our transactions, our organization, but also ultimately our speech and our thought and what we read. In the past, none of those regimes has been able to manage that because they simply did not have the technological capacity to control every aspect of human behavior, to control what you were doing, what you were saying in your house, what your movements were, even your sexual behavior they want to control. But today we have created this wave of technology that now will give the next totalitarian regime the capacity to do exactly that.
I'm here today with the next president of the United States, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. On April 6th, he announced his bid to run as a Democrat in the 2024 elections for the presidency. I believe he's going to win. He's proven that he has the integrity and the courage to stand up to the corporatocracy, which has captured and is overrunning all of political and state agencies.
Quick question for the audience, for the viewer of this is, of course, just my opinion. Do you think that due to do you think he's going to be safe? I mean, physically safe. Because what's going on right now is what his uncle did and what his dad did. And for some reason, he feels a very strong need to call BS on the establishment, which I wouldn't, well, we could call it the establishment, the current government, which, as I told you in that video, has worked quick. I mean, right away, the day after Biden got out of office, boom, 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 boom. Or got in, I'm sorry, woof, that's what a misspeak. The day after he was inaugurated in what appeared to be nothing more than okay. I mean, everything was blocked off and the military was there. What does that remind you of? Or what would that remind you of? After the you're not allowed to say it. After the person that actually had achieved the position was ousted by his own general. Okay, I know No, it's not whack job. I mean, we have to go back and look at it. It's right there. It should, well, uh, it was, and they all had masks on, didn't they? Because of COVID.
And he's not afraid. I believe he's going to continue the legacy of his uncle, John F. Kennedy, and his father, Robert Kennedy. And we talk about that a bit on this podcast. The podcast was recorded before he announced his candidacy, so we didn't get into any of those details. But you will see the integrity, the courage, the wisdom, and the absolute clarity of this man who's been slandered in the press everywhere he goes for standing up for what he believes to be the truth. And everything he says is backed by research, is backed by fact. Any area where he might extend himself beyond what he knows, he pulls back. He embodies every characteristic of a leader that I will follow to the end. And I'm all in. I told him, I give you my word, I give you my sword. If you run for president, I'm all in. And so here I am, and just honored to share this podcast with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Bobby, it's such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for coming.
Happy to be here, Aubrey. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Of course. There seems to me to be something that runs in your family that stands for courage. It stands for value. It stands for a code of integrity and ethics. And it doesn't mean that everybody in your family and yourself included did everything perfect all the time and you're perfect people by any stretch of the imagination. Nobody is. But there's this thread of courage that it seems like you can track through the Kennedy line. And it's certainly shown brightly over the past few years, particularly, but even before that. So I guess my first question is what is it about the Kennedys? Where did this come from? Whereas there's this kind of backbone of standing for what is right, true, and just.
I don't know about all of that. I know that the stuff that I do that a lot of people say it takes a lot of courage or, you're making a big sacrifice. I don't look at it that way. I see, the battles and the engagements that I've been able to be involved in, that it's a privilege, that it's something that makes me feel peaceful and happy to be involved. I think all of us, me and my 11 siblings, my 29 cousins, were all raised with this idea that our lives ultimately would be consumed in some great controversy, and that it would be a huge privilege if we were able to take some meaningful part in that debate. And I feel like that's happened to me, but also I'm I'm surrounded by people who I see these tremendous courage and character quality in all the time, and it feels good to be in a foxhole with those people. A lot of them are mothers who were recruited to this issue by involuntarily by having an injured child, which upended it.
Okay, I better end it. I'm going to listen to the whole thing. I just wanted you to hear the beginning of it about the totalitarian society, AI, and when he talks about the government getting involved with your sexual activity, what he's actually talking about is how the AI supposedly is going to be able to pick up when a woman is ovulating. Now, I heard him say this a while back, a couple years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, or in 2020. It really freaked me out, and I think he was in Berlin, and I thought, wow. But even if I have my phone sort of in the car or something like that, or once, like I turned it off for a couple days and I did an experiment with it and I restarted it. And both times it went through this real weird spiel where I had to plug it into my Chromebook and they had to make sure it was me and all this stuff. And it locked me out of my phone. It locked me out of my phone. Um, I know people in Great Britain are going to be starting these emergency alerts. We've had these too, but for well over a year and a half. And the problem is that you're not able to just backtrack and get out of the alert. You have to acknowledge it. You have to say you had it, you heard it, and then they'll let you use your phone. So a lot of times I don't even bother carrying the phone with me when I leave the house, specifically for that reason. Sometimes if it's buried in the bottom of my purse for a day or two, it freaks out. Try turning it off and putting it in your microwave at night. I know you think that's whack, but just see what happens if you've got a smartphone. I know that sounds whack, but just the AI in it won't be happy. All right, so I don't want the government tracking me. I don't want anybody tracking me. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay.